All right, Gabe Henderson here outside the TCO Performance Center. We got Albert Breer from the MMQB. When we're recording this interview, practice has not occurred, but we did get a chance to listen to pressers. Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Eric Kendricks, Justin Jefferson. Your thoughts on just these guys going into training camp?
Yeah, you know what? I think what sticks out to me, and just hearing Kirk talk, like in particular, was where he's at in his career and how the math has changed at quarterback. He'll turn 33 in August. And I mean, like when I was a kid, and I'm a little older than you, Gabe, that was like when a quarterback started to age out. And it's sort of interesting hearing him talk about how, like, he's sort of changed some of the things that he's done and how he's got an opportunity to play another 7-8 years. And so you put that against the backdrop of like all the quarterback movement this year, this offseason, right, across the NFL. And he's got a rookie in his room now in Kellen Mond. And I think, like, you know, you really could wind up getting a lot out of Kirk Cousins this year as a player, especially when you look at the amount of young talents around him. And I think he understands, too, you know, Bradbury, Darisaw, Irv Smith, Justin Jefferson. Like, there's a responsibility that goes along with being a player of his age to bring guys like that along.
You talk about all those pieces to the puzzle on the offensive side of the ball. Last year, top 5 offense in the NFL. With the defense, you know, with what we did this offseason with the defense, what is expected from the offense? Is it, you know, top 10, top 5, be consistent? Like, what are your thoughts?
The offense, you said? I mean, I think like having a new offensive coordinator is interesting. Now, they've been through it here before over the last few years, of course. And the guys here, like, understand, you know, going from Kevin Stefanski to, I mean, if we want to go further back, going from Norv Turner to Kevin Stefanski, then Kevin Stefanski to last year Gary Kubiak, and then Kubiak to his son Clint. I like that's a lot of turnover. So I think like one of the keys is going to be like, what does he add creatively? Because that offense is obviously really popular across the NFL. And how does Kirk sort of take some more control being in his 4th year here? Because the bones of the offense really for the last 3 years have been the same. Like, they've been running a Shanahan-style offense for a while here. So it'll be interesting to see when you add a new play caller in and then you have all these young players who you need to bring along into the mix, how that all comes together.
And speaking of young player, Justin Jefferson, he said today, last year was inconvenient. Now having the convenience overall as a Vikings team, having that convenience with, you know, some added pieces, how do you think that will help them this year?
Well, I think for a team that's going to rely on young players, having the convenience of being able to meet face-to-face is going to mean a lot. And, you know, I think Justin Jefferson is probably the last person who was affected by all that last year. I mean, like one of the greatest seasons by a rookie receiver ever. So, you know, you just think about a guy like that, like who was able to navigate all of the stuff that happened last year and now being able to meet face-to-face more with his quarterback. If they want to go out to dinner now, they can do it. Like, there's just so many different parts of this that I think are going to be easier for young players where, you know, there are things that I think before all of this that everyone took for granted, whether it's, you know, like, again, like going out to dinner with a guy, playing golf with a guy on your day off. Like, there are things that they're going to be able to do to, I think, accelerate the process for some of the young players that I think are a product of us being a little closer to normal than we were a year ago.
Absolutely. And just lastly, just speaking of the defensive side of the ball in particular, so many added pieces to the puzzle. With the offense that we had last year, what are your expectations for this defense with so many veterans?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot's going to – I mean, I think the corner position's obviously – you know, a big one, and, you know, what happened with Jeff Gladney in the offseason is something that, you know, they got to work through. They've got veterans, and they've got guys who are used to playing together, and like Harrison Smith and Anthony Barr, and we heard from Kendricks today. So they've got a really good foundation there. I just put it this way, like, there are holes there, and I think they got to work through some things at a couple positions. Who's going to play opposite Donnell Hunter? How are they going to get production out of that spot, the corner spot? But the guy in charge, I mean, Mike Zimmer has forever and ever made it work with whoever he's had on the defensive side of the ball. So I think he's going to be able to bring some younger guys along and make it work.
Gotcha. So the Vikings will win or be a contender in the NFC North if
things come together with the young guys on offense. I think that's the best way to look at it, you know, and I think it's on the young guys. Like, what kind of presence is Darisaw at tackle? What kind of presence is Bradbury at center? What are they getting out of Justin Jefferson? I mean, they've just got Irv Smith. Like, they've got a lot of young talent there where, you know, then you kind of slide back and you look at the Kirk Cousins and the Dalvin Cooks. Well, if you're adding some juice to what they already had here, you know, I think it can come together quickly, but there's a lot of variables. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, and that's really what it is. It's like, how do those new pieces, Clint Kubiak included, all come together?
Absolutely. Albert Breer, always appreciate your insight, your knowledge, your wisdom. Vikings camp is in full effect. Thank you for joining me today.
All right. Thanks, Gabe.